I'm talking today with Deb Spencer at Trio's Studio, and we're talking about some of the trends in how people buy diamonds. I've noticed just here in our own store that we get a lot of inquiries about why should I buy a diamond with you instead of on the internet. What do you say when a young man comes in and poses that question?
Well, that means he's done a little research, which is a good thing. But basically, I think what we have to offer over the internet is service. And that means that we can be a personal shopper. We can actually go through hundreds of stone options that fit into their parameters, their budget parameter, their clarity and color grade, their treatments, and find something that's most appropriate for them. And then they can come in and look at a much more condensed selection. So it's not as overwhelming for them, and that's what we do. So offering them that service is something the internet can't do.
I understand that Canadian diamonds give people an option for the most ethical diamond. What do you say to that?
I think that's very true. Canada has stringent requirements for mining in all industries, but the diamond industry in particular, they can't mine them in the summertime. They have to mine them in the wintertime because they're in areas that have tundra and animal sensitivity, and there's a lot of human rights issues that are addressed with Canadian employment things, just like they would be here in the U.S. So we don't have to worry about exploitation on any level.
What about the environment? After a mine is dug, I assume that there will be pits and tunnels. And
Well,
things.
yeah. They the mine that we get our stones from is a rather large pit actually, and whatever the government requires the mine to repriate the ground, they have to do it in order to have the permits to mine there. So part of mining is returning the grounds back to as good as they can get it, original or better than condition.
Everyone says they have conflict-free diamonds. Isn't that good enough?
In our opinion, it isn't good enough. Conflict-free means that there's a paper trail back to the source of the diamonds, and they were not sourced in a war-torn area or smuggled or exploited in that way. That isn't good enough. We can source diamonds that are mined with stringent regulations in the environmentally. Their workers are paid a pretty good wage to be out there, probably way better than what we get paid.
But I understand what you're saying about the human rights. So conflict-free doesn't address all of the problems with ethical production of diamonds.
No. And in fact, the Kimberley protocols that were established to kind of deal with the conflict diamonds are very easy to beat. And it's becoming quite known that they don't really mean very much.
When we found a really good source for Canadian diamonds, I think we were both very relieved that we finally had a way to close the circle of the ethical production of jewelry. Because we use recycled metals from our suppliers.
Yep.
We can get 100% fair trade colored gemstones and 100% ethically produced diamond. We're the slave labor, as I like to joke, and therefore you have completely guilt-free piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
If someone came in, what would you use to show them the differences and why we can sell the best diamond for
We
their
have
needs?
a selection of tools that are actually pretty handy. One is, of course, a binocular microscope, so we can actually look at the diamond at 10 power and greater if we want to really get into where the features are and what they are. A crystal inside a crystal, that's pretty
fun.
Cool.
I like that.
Yeah. We can find the report numbers, and I call them tattoos. different insignias.
Oh, on the girdle of the stone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love finding those numbers. It's mind-blowing how small they are.
Yeah. But it's also a tracking system for where the stones came from, and the reports, and when we set those stones, we can set them in a way that is always visible to anybody that looks at the diamond under magnification. But we also have very simple little tube with reflective tape on the inside, and ours is red. So somebody called it a
Ideal scope.
ideal scope, yeah. And that's a really good name for it. I never knew what to call it. I just
The
use
diamond cut identifier.
Yeah.
But I love what it shows, and it would show us what?
It's a very simple thing to stick it in there and just look and see the pattern of the cut. And around brilliant diamond, it'll show if the symmetry is perfect or if it's slightly off. You'll see arrows on the crown side, and on the pavilion side you'll see hearts. And if they're broken up in any way, then you know the cut is not an ideal cut.
And
But it could still be a very nice cut.
to see the stones side by side in that way, something that is not possible to accurately see on the internet,
Yeah,
on
you
a
can't-
computer screen.
Right.
The other thing I know that you have at your disposal is a master color grading set.
Yes, I have a set of half carat stones that are G2 or D2 M, I believe, in color. And so that's a really nice visual way to show somebody what the nuances of color can be.
And boy, are these grading elements nuanced. When you think about a diamond and what is changing the price up or down, it can be the most microscopic difference, and that can change the price of your stone hundreds and thousands of dollars.
And that's where we can really, and we have the flexibility of meeting somebody's budget in those nuances. You know, somebody might not care so much of the color of the diamond if the cut is an ideal cut. If the cut's an ideal cut, it's going to load that stone with every color that's around it anyway. So an IJ color might not look so bad. In fact, you can't even really tell when it's face up.
Right.
So,
Well, I love that we've been able to show people the differences, bring in the stones, be their personal shopper, and satisfy so many people with how we sell diamonds.
yeah.
So,
Now, one thing we haven't discussed is the difference between a natural diamond and a synthetic diamond.
oh boy, Deb, that is a subject matter that I think is troubling a lot of people in this industry.
It's becoming quite prevalent in manufactured goods, that they are in pieces of jewelry that is not marked as synthetic diamond, even though it's being sold as synthetic. There's no way for us to know it's synthetic. It takes a very specialized piece of equipment to tell the difference between a synthetic diamond and a natural diamond. So my feeling is there, and it may not matter to people. If they want a synthetic diamond, I have no problem selling them a synthetic diamond, but I have a feeling that what's going to happen to the synthetics of diamond is the same thing that happened to synthetics of corundum, ruby and sapphire, and that will be in a few years. They're going to be all over the place. They're going to be cheap and nothing special.
And it's going to be impossible to tell what you have in any given piece of jewelry.
Right.
And if it wasn't disclosed at the time of sale properly, or the person that is bringing it to us,
Reselling it or repairing it or whatever,
So-
as it makes its way through the jewelry cycle,
yeah,
it's going to be a problem.
because
And,
these
you know,
stones actually have inclusions and color variations, just like the natural diamonds.
yeah. So I have ethical problems with synthetic stones.
Oh, okay. Well, but that is why a lot of people are looking to synthetics, because they don't like the quote-unquote ethical problems
I know.
of natural diamonds.
Yes, exactly.
So we feel very strongly that by using the Canadian diamonds, that we have addressed the ethics, and you don't have to settle for a synthetic,
Right.
or a moissanite,
Right.
or something else. I mean, if it's going to be your symbolic stone for your engagement and wedding,
That's an important sentimental piece that should have some integrity.
Have some integrity, and we just have always gone with natural as
Yeah.
our preference.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Deb. This is a lot of information, and I think that we're going to share it.